hardy Chicago fig. Somehow with this crazy winter we've had, it's not dead on the top. So we're gonna get at this point, we're not gonna get this fig. Look at that, it's still green. So maybe we would have gotten that fig. Look at the sap rising. You see the milky stuff coming out?
Yeah.
This plant is vulnerable right now for winter injury. If it got really cold, it won't be able to get that sap back down, and it'll freeze the tissues because it's got all that nice juice in there.
And then you'll just cut it back.
I'll just cut it back. If you want your fig tree to give you figs, you have to put it in a position where it's not out in the wind, out in the area where it's windy. It has to be protected. This one gets protected by that. That's a great windbreak. The big winds come over and just go right over that, you know, go way up there. So that's why this one's there, and there's a reason why we parked them all here, because they grow well. And we also they have huge leaves, so you can't have crowding. You can't have a whole bunch of stems coming up. The bigger the stem, the hardier the stem. So we want to develop these to be really big. And you can see every once in a while what happens. It gets too cold and they die back. So that does happen. And you've seen over the years we've had that happen right there. So it's not, if they'd never died back, they'd be a lot bigger than this. But on the East Coast, they usually stay as bushes.
The smaller ones there, are you going to cut those back or air layer them? Or?
We don't, yeah, they should have been cut off. So this one here and this one here, yeah. And that one actually has some of its own roots. So I can take that, give it a bud. I can plant that in a 2-inch pot.
Yep.
And you got a hardy Chicago fig.
Cool.
There you go, put it in your pocket. Yeah, and then these are kind of nice because when you make a cutting of a hardy Chicago fig like that, it's a terminal, it'll root and then it'll have fruit on it. So somebody will come in and see a 4-inch pot with fruit on it, and guess what? It gets sold real quick. It's like too much of a temptation. And then when you do a cutting of these guys, you cut them right below the bud, just like that. And that will give you non-rotting around, you know, where you've got it stuck into the perlite. Because
do these guys have a breeder crop?
Yes, but very slim, not a big breeder crop. And it's got a, and I don't think I'm going to get a breeder crop because I think I've got
too much dead stuff.
I think I've got some dead stuff up here. This one looks like there might be one there. So what'll happen is early in late July, you'll have a few figs on here. But then you got to wait till end of August before you really start getting them. And what was I going to say? Oh, so if I cut this like that for a cutting, usually what happens is this will rot up to there because it's a cane, it's pithy. You know, it's like bamboo or so, it's very pithy. So when I do make a cutting, I like to cut it right there. So I don't know if that information's helpful or not, but if you do market gardening on Saturdays and you have a couple of little potted figs, guess what? You'll sell them. Yeah. And then you can sell a lot of, it's amazing. When you have a good fig crop year, you'll sell every fig that you put down because, you know how to pick them ripe. You know, you wait for them to be really ripe and then people just, they love them. So let's look at a hardy Chicago fig over here. It'll Y out. When those Ys get 6 new leaves, then I terminate the tip and I make them Y out again. So at the end of the growing season, you've got all this branching, and instead of having this long thing that just grew up, you've got a little bushy thing. But it's a summer kind of thing where you're always manipulating. Yeah. Yeah. So this hasn't been pruned at all, and all of these have to go out. And of course we propagate from them. And then some of these I gotta see. Yep. So that one we can pot up. So I would probably take that root off, off. And then I can, this one. But now I've got a little plant. That's a hardy shoot. And we can put that right into a quart pot and it'll grow. Here. You don't need it. Hardy Chicago. So that happens when you're pruning. You'll find, you know, you can make peace with your neighbor. And I know you didn't like the bamboo that went all over your yard from my yard, but maybe you'd like a fig tree. You know, and then they could either slam the door in your face or take you to court or feel better that you're at least trying to be happy with it. So this guy, I want to spread him out. I'll probably leave this one because I like, you know, it's big and I like it. But all this other stuff has to go. And then I'm going to take this out because it's just too close to the, it'll get shaded and it's just too close to the plastic, that kind of thing. And after that, these are getting awfully tall, so I'd probably bring these down. So I might bring this down. Although,
It's kind of dead.
no?
It's super easy.
Well, that could be like old lettuce. I don't know. I don't think it's dead, even though it does look a little funky. Yeah. Anyway, so there's a good 45 minutes work there. If you're propagating from the base, it'll be a couple hours because you'll want to operate and get some roots, and then you can pot them up. But then again, you'd be surprised. The leaves get so big, they get so shaded. So this and this are just, they shouldn't go together. This should be taken out. This one here going this way, there's just no room for it. You know, this whole thing needs to be taken out. You get the idea?